Hi, Rob here. Welcome to the IELTS writing course. Welcome back. This lesson is about complex sentences, and specifically it's about noun clauses. It's part 1. So if we use a noun clause, we are making a complex sentence. Okay. Remember, you need a mix of simple and complex sentence forms to achieve as high a score as possible. So a complex sentence you need for band 6 and above. Here's an example. I'm telling you that noun clauses are written in green. Adjective clauses in red, noun clauses in green, adverb clauses in blue. This is a code that we use throughout to help you just see them. So let's have a look. And again, subordinating conjunctions are used in clauses, noun clauses, adverb clauses, adjective clauses. And then we have a subject, noun clauses, finite verb, are. Okay? So a noun clause is a dependent clause. It needs something else. A dependent clause cannot stand alone. Where I come from, need more information. No good. So, it needs to be connected to an independent clause. Let's have a look. Where I come from is near Brisbane. In this case, where I come from is the subject of the sentence, which we will talk about. So subject, verb. Okay. So that sentence is fine. If you're not sure what a dependent clause is, or a clause or an independent clause, go back and watch What is a Sentence presentation. So that's grammar, sentence types, part 1. So we've got 5 types of noun clauses. We're going to do the first couple in here and then look at the others. Now, remember that a noun clause is a noun, okay? Nothing more. It's a noun. So a noun is a thing. And nouns are names for things names that we give things in the world. So it does the same thing as a noun. So what do nouns do? Well, again, go back and watch the sentence types part 1. A sentence is a subject and a verb and sometimes an object. Nouns are subjects and nouns are objects. They're not verbs. Adjectives and adverbs give more information about nouns and verbs. Okay. So type 1 is a subject. We can use a noun clause as a subject. Okay, and you should. This would be good. It's the same as a noun. 3 ways to use it as a subject. The first way is it plus be. So be could be in the future, will be, present is, or it could be the past, was. Complement, so a complement gives more information about the subject, plus a noun clause. You have this structure in many other languages, all the European languages, the Latin languages we have it. It is important that you support your peers. So the subject is not it, the subject is in green. That you support your peers is important. There's the subject and there's the verb. It will be imperative, so in the future. Imperative means very important, that you focus during your test. So that you focus during your test will be imperative. So it is redundant. We do not need it. Again, there's our subject and our verb. Okay, so that's the first type. So you should learn how to do these. The next one is a noun clause plus a verb. Now I think these are the easiest to use. What I like chocolate. What I like is chocolate. So it's quite a simple way to use a complex sentence. So you don't need to say, I think that, blah, blah, blah. What I think is that, da, 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 da. that will get you a higher score. So learn how to do these. That's my suggestion. Subject, verb. What I did upset them. What I want you to do now is to complete 8 word transformations. So often, as I'll explain later, we use these in instructions. So I could have said I want you to complete 8 word transformations, which is fine, it's the same thing, but we want you to use complex sentences, more complex sentences. And so notice here that the noun clause is the subject, so it's simply subject-verb. These are technically known as a cleft sentence, okay? So there's lots of technical language in what we're talking about, and obviously it's a bit scary and it's a bit difficult, but we need to use it to be able to talk about this. So very simple subject-verb, but the subject is a noun clause, so inside it is a subject and a verb as well. As I said, this is how we give instructions. So rather than saying complete 8 word transformations, that's an instruction, an order. What I want you to do now, and now everybody's yes, I'm listening, is, okay, complete 8 word transformations. So we use it to prepare the listener to receive the instruction. So again, it's a more efficient way of communicating an instruction in this case, okay? The third type of subject, noun clause as a subject, is this. The raspberry cheesecake is what I want to eat. And we can also reverse it. What I want to eat is the raspberry cheesecake. So this could be the subject, or we could swap it around. So in this case, this is a complement, and in this case, this is a complement. A complement just gives more information about the subject. Often they're the same thing. So I like to think of this as an equals sign. The raspberry cheesecake equals what I want to eat. They are the same. Some examples that you might put in an essay. One reason is that students in single-sex schools are as socialised as those in co-ed schools. Co-ed means that there's boys and girls together. Single-sex means just boys or just girls. Another reason is that they are more likely to choose subjects based on their preferences. Now we can equally swap it all around. That students in single-sex schools are as socialised as those in co-ed schools is one reason. That they are more likely to choose subjects based on their preferences is another reason. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you do this unless you're good. So unless you can do it accurately is what I mean. Because you don't want to make mistakes. So too many students are trying these more complex ways of using grammar, but making more mistakes. And that depends on what score you need. So you really need to practice these, not in the test. Practice them before, and if you can use them well, then use them. Of course, that means you need to get someone to check your writing and your speaking. Of course, we can help with that. Type 2. So type 1 was subjects, and now objects. The noun clause is the direct object of a transitive verb. So watch our video on verbs. Transitive verbs take a direct object, always. So many students say, I like. Like what? I enjoy. Enjoy what? You need more information in English. I don't know where she is. So no transitive verb. In this case it's transitive. Where she is the object. Subject, finite verb, non-finite verb, object. I learnt what they taught me. Object. And here's our subordinating conjunction. Okie doke. So that's the object of the transitive verb, a direct object. Okay, he meant what he said. Okey-doke. So these are quite common. I mean, you probably already use them. Teachers will teach them as reported speech. She said that, blah, 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 blah. She said that she was coming. She said what she was doing. She said where she was going. All of these are noun clauses as objects, okay? I'm teaching you the bigger picture here to hopefully give you more ways to express yourself and get a higher score in your grammar. That's the idea. So we could have, these objects are also just nouns. Could be just nouns. I don't know her. I learnt it. He meant it. So nouns or pronouns. And noun clauses, same thing. There you go. Okie doke. Good. Now, indirect objects. So, this is where we have an intransitive verb. So, an intransitive verb can just be a verb. For example, I ran. But if I want to add an object, I wouldn't say I ran the shop. I ran to the shop. So, it has an indirect object, or the object of the preposition. Or a ditransitive verb. Di means double. So a ditransitive verb has two objects, a direct object and an indirect object. Again, if you're not sure, if you don't remember what they are, watch the verb presentation. I listened to how much they enjoyed it. So this noun clause here is the indirect object of the verb listen, or the object of the preposition. I waited for what he had cooked. Indirect object of waited. So these are both intransitive verbs. I listened to the music. I waited for her. Here is a ditransitive verb. They told him what he wanted to hear. Direct object, indirect object. Okay? So it's got two objects. So you need to use those. That's noun clauses part 1, where we've looked at subjects and objects, basically, both direct and indirect. Go on now to watch noun clauses part 2, and then make sure you understand the other types of complex sentences and also different types of verbs. Okay? Thank you very much. Have a great day.